Hello, welcome back to Business 120. I'm Ellen Foley, your instructor. Today we take on Chapter 14, one of our last chapters for a lecture and one of the most important for your future. Chapter 14 is about e-business and social media. Here's a chart you've seen before that outlines the traditional platforms that people have used to sell things without the web. And I'm sure we've gone over this in class by the time you've seen this lecture. But you can see the many tactics that we used prior to 2013 or so. And there are a lot of them, and many of them did not translate to e-business. The interesting part about marketing and communications right now is that these tactics can be integrated with social media and other kinds of media, and that's really one of the big lessons of this course. Again, at the top of the page, you can see a rendition of the traditional media platforms. And let's look at some of the social media assets that enhance the traditional. With social media, you can be much clearer with your customer about how much of the audience you are reaching. There's still some play in this, and maybe pay-per-click or the number of viewers that you get to your website is not as airtight as we would like it, but it's much better than our estimates in the newspaper business, where we would tell people, oh well, we sell 100,000 copies a day and 3 people read them, so that means 300,000 people are seeing your ad. Well, that was never true. In any case, people paged through the paper, but we could not tell them on which ad they actually would stop. Email and pay-per-click ads, that's hard to say, pay-per-click advertising are tools that the book describes and are very cost effective. Email is still a tool that I use quite frequently. The open rates are still quite good on email, even though my email box is filled with political ads right now and I can barely find anything in it. In general, during the non-election times, it's a great way to reach a customer who's interested in you. Social ads, primarily through search, your Google browser, any other kind of browser that you're using, are often the prime way people are reaching people, and there are ways to use those browsers as a way to chase you around the web. I'm sure you've experienced this. We call those display ads, and they throw a cookie onto your browsing activity, and if you show an interest in a pair of shoes, for example, that ad will follow you onto other websites that you visit as you are searching for information. Website SEO, search engine optimization, has been a massive job for marketers. It's become its own specialty. I don't claim to be an expert in it, but it is the science of learning how to make your website optimized for searches that people make through the browsers, and also when they go out into the web and are looking at different kinds of topics. This is an extremely important facet for people who are trying to sell things through their websites. There are many new innovations in chat and other interactive kinds of technologies, and I will show you one of them in the following slides. I'm sure you've experienced this if you've purchased anything on a website where suddenly a chat bubble will come up and they don't want you to call them, because that is not a great customer service tool anymore, because the phones are not as efficient as chat is, but they want to help you immediately. 10 years ago this would have been unthinkable. Now it's an everyday occurrence. 89% of Americans use the internet, and that has positives and it has negatives. It has become our marketplace. It also has become a very crowded space. Mobile traffic has become astonishing to me. Many more U.S. businesses are increasing their use of mobile, which means your website has to be able to display properly on the phone as well as on a larger screen. 25% of retail sales are now on mobile. You are all aware of the power of apps. Again, 10 years ago, they were very primitive. People are using their smartphones and their tablets to purchase items and to seek information about products. Again, chat is a increasingly sophisticated tool on mobile, and the real opportunity in terms of mobile is globally. So why is social media important? Well, it's social. And we found that human beings are more likely to buy something if a friend, someone that they trust, recommends it than if an ad recommends it. So that's the key premise behind social media, and I'm sure you've all experienced it. One of the new trends that we're finding in this year that may be influenced by COVID, or perhaps is just part of a cycle in our culture, is that consumers are coming back to recommendations of real people. They're not as impressed with a celebrity spokesperson. Facebook and Twitter are still the primo tools in social media. LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and even TikTok are coming up behind them. They all have ad functions. We will talk for a little bit in class about TikTok at this very moment, which is the end of September. A judge has just ruled that our president cannot stop the use of TikTok in our country. So we'll have to see what the future of these technologies are. It's a little odd to me that a public official can rein in a technology, but our president feels that TikTok at the moment, which is owned by a Chinese company, can gather information and pose a security risk to our country. In our final project that you will present the last few days of class, your assessment of your company's social media will be very important. Everything isn't easy in the world of social media. The ad costs, particularly with the election of Facebook ads and web ads, also, which is a very crowded space, as are the other browsers. And in order to get an ad to index highly on the first page, you have to pay a lot of money, which smaller businesses don't have. Facebook groups, which are a new feature on Facebook, actually they're not new, but they're changed and more streamlined, has been accused recently of secretive data mining, that they're keeping your data and sharing it with people you don't necessarily want them to. I've just changed my privacy settings this week on Facebook. And all this is leading to a need for organic opportunities. These are opportunities where you don't pay for someone to see your information and your value of your company. YouTube is now acting as a search engine, so many people are moving to YouTube with their content. Instagram is more important for small businesses, but the Instagram tool needs to be very consistently fed, and a lot of small companies fall off the wagon on that. Long-form video blogs are in our near future, and we're talking like 25 minutes of a video that you might post for your company on YouTube. And there's a question about the viability of podcasts. It's a very crowded market, and we'll see how that goes. The internet has a massive growth potential primarily throughout the world. As I said earlier, the United States, about 89% of us are already using the web for many purposes. The United States business group needs to look at its sales practices and get more efficient with so many people already on the web, and to figure out how to stratify them and target them. Alexa is being increasingly used for search, which is making Google very upset in terms of its power as a search engine. To the right on this slide is what is called a bot, a messenger bot, and these are bots that are inside your messenger application that let you buy things without dialing the phone number or going to an email or website location. These are becoming much more popular, and they are very difficult for a small business to put together. The larger businesses are much more streamlined at this. As you can see, this is an ad for 1-800-Flowers, and this is a order that someone made to send to Mr. Zuckerberg some flowers as a way to show the power of this messenger bot. As I said earlier, celebrity influencers are waning, and I wonder what's next. Internet ethics is a topic that your book goes into in depth, and I'll be quick here with it. We are all watching the Russian influence in the election and in the previous presidential election. A Russian company that was ordered to oppose Hillary Clinton through social media posts is something that is a tool in the future, and I'm sure you're watching the many different hearings and statements by social media moguls on how they are working hard to stop this kind of foreign influence in our election. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Here are some questions that we're going to talk about in class if we get time. What changes do you see coming? And what is the value to businesses to keep innovating in social media? We might also get to which social media channels your final project used, so that you can pass those by your fellow students and maybe get some ideas. And I'm curious about whether your companies are using TikTok. I kind of doubt it, but hopefully by the time we meet, that decision will have been made and we'll know a little bit more about it. So that's all we have for Chapter 14. I hope to see you soon in class. Bye-bye.